Olivia. I'm looking over my notes. You thanked me for letting you help your parents who had obviously was along the Cape Fear River, I think, and had lost their home or I assume it was a home, maybe it was a second home. But yes, absolutely. I was in a flood myself in West Virginia. It was probably the worst flooding in the history of West Virginia. It was in 1985, and it was a 60-foot wall of water that came down the valley where I lived, and we had no notice. So I had probably 40-some neighbors that died, and no house left. Took my cars, my business, lost everything. So these kind of things are very dynamic and life-changing. Quinn talks about two types of change, incremental and deep. And going through a national disaster is deep change. It uproots you sometimes to the point you don't even want to live where that happened to you. And you definitely don't want to go back there. And it was a deep change for me and opened all kinds of other doors. So I hope your parents are okay. I hope you're getting all that cleaned up, and it was incremental change and not deep. But anyway, no worries. That was offered to everybody. So we talk about diversity. I'm looking at my notes, and you said that diversity, it's rich to have conversations with others who are different, but yet the same. And you're absolutely correct. And if you think of diversity, it just means that people with different opinions, different outlooks, different backgrounds, different views, different everything. And that's how we do grow. Those are quality conversations. Unfortunately, as a society, we started looking at diversity meaning minorities, and I don't think it's limited to that. Talents can be diverse, and you could be talking about a diverse group of people could be a very different talented group. So I did like the fact that you seem to get that and you made that distinction. And as a white individual, we are privileged. I think as a white woman, I'm not sure how, I'm probably more privileged than a black woman or a Hispanic woman, but I'm not as privileged as a white man. And so we kind of layer ourselves in society as far as these privileges where we fall. And I think you recognize that as well, and I thought that was great. For me, at my age, I'm 60, I'm starting to learn that there's a lot of challenges out there that people don't accept 60-year-olds. They look at us differently, and especially as a 60-year-old female, I'm looked at differently than a 60-year-old male. So this is a whole new area of a minority I've entered that I'm trying to figure out as well. So it never ends. We always find ourselves in these situations. You talked about female administrators, and I put the quotes, have much to prove. I do think when it comes to male and female leadership administrators, that there are two pockets of looking at that. And I think that, women do earn respect and become great leaders. But I think the challenge is that it's a lot more difficult at the beginning getting to that level. Now, once they get there, they're fine. But it's granted and given to a male much easier than it is a female. So females that you see that are accepted and excelling and are respected, they have earned it somehow, some way. It didn't come easy. And so I think we have to recognize this and accept it. And that was one of the reasons this is one of my favorite modules, is because it really does make us have these conversations that people avoid, whether it's female administration or a black administrator or Hispanic or Asian, whatever it is, Native American. It causes us in these videos to have these conversations. I really enjoyed your video. I'm looking over to see if there was any other notes I wanted to make. And you talked about that your population is probably 90% white, middle class. The teachers don't match the students. And you talked about that article. It was the same article that one of your colleagues, another intern, had talked about. So it was great because I had already heard about the article, and then you talked about it as well. And I think this is true. I also think it is indicative of higher ed. I think we're better at it, but I don't think our faculty match the minorityness of our students either. And I also think of gay students. We just more recently have hired within the Ed Leadership Department 4 openly gay individuals, 3 men and a woman, which now gives our gay administrators, gay interns, gay students, someone they can relate to. Now, we have just, let me see, I'm thinking just one Black female faculty member. We used to have a lot more diversity, and then somehow it all changed. And I guess you could, even though the 4 openly gays are white, they do still represent a minority. So we do try, we make every effort. Sometimes the minority is just not among the applicants. And we've talked about how do we increase that? How do we dig deeper and find more minorities that are qualified to serve in those roles? But a great job. I thought it was perfect. You cut 60 seconds probably off. Your timing was good. Everything looked great. Excellent job. Thanks for sharing.